Turn with me over to Isaiah 58 and 12. I'll give you a minute to get there. While you're turning, I just want to introduce you to the massive expansion of 3 words. Massive expansion, M-E, me. It's about a personal recovery journey. Are you there? Are you ready? Let's read. Coming from the Amplified Version. You'll be like a well-watered garden, a gurgling. Turn with me over to Isaiah 58 and 12. I'll give you a minute to get there. While you're turning, I just want to introduce you to the massive expansion of 3 words. Massive expansion, M-E, me. It's about a personal recovery journey. Are you there? Are you ready? Let's read. Coming from the Amplified Version. You'll be like a well-watered garden, a gurgling spring that never runs dry. You'll use the old rubble of past lives to build anew. Rebuild the foundations from out of your past. You'll be known as those who can fix anything. Restore old ruins. Rebuild and renovate. Make the community livable again. So as we shift now into this next piece, keep those words in mind. Restore, rebuild, renovate. Restore, rebuild, renovate. Let's go. This is a letter for you, my Redeemer, the Restorer. Bled red and chose me instead of punishment alone. Let us make man in our image and after our likeness, you said. Created me as a fiery beacon called to pray, warn, teach, and war. You're the relifter of my head, the recapturer of my soul. The one who re-breaks me and remakes me whole. Who resuscitates me when breath seems out of reach. The one who takes Ezekiel 37 and fast forwards to 2023 just to come get me. The resetter of time. Rejuvenates me and ties me up in a pretty bow just to tell Satan I told you so. Retake me. Remake me. Remold me. The places that look like no faculties remain. The feeling of disdain, but destiny calleth me. Destiny calleth me. Yeah, I was surprised too. I was surprised too. There's a nation arising with words of recatapult that stir the soul. They will reopen doors and reset the wastelands. But be careful. They don't look like the norm that religion has set, but instead have been reformulated with rewritings on flesh and words etched on heartstrings of experience and relived trauma. They will escape out of caves, repurposed as graveyards, whose steps have been ordered by the Lord. Yep, ordered by the Lord. Where mounds of rock became places of miracles and open doors. Where realms escaped demonic access. And portals shift from incomprehensible to re-enveloped and represented as original purpose. Not isolated. Just incubated. No padded rooms. Just careful of the access. To access the rest. The re-miracle. The re-emergence of me.
Great day, everybody. I was going to say great morning. It's almost 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And just let you know how you can lose track of a day and time. I hope that you are well, that you're having an amazing day. Some of you, if you work a regular shift, you are just getting off of work. Blessings to those that are watching on Facebook, those that are watching on YouTube, and those who are watching on IG. I pray that you are well and that you're doing everything that God has called you to do. You, of course, was listening to my album, um, and yeah, I felt like I need to play that first song. And every time I get on live, that's when the phone starts ringing. But nevertheless, we're in here. I hope that you are being found in this quarter doing everything that God has commanded you to do. That you are using this quarter that we've walked into on today, the second quarter of the year, to do something super duper, absolutely stupendous, absolutely amazing, something that's going to change and revolutionize your world for the rest of your life. That is my prayer for you. That's exactly what you are doing. Even as I was going through our bookstore on today, I just felt inclined to go and pull just some of the books that I have written in preparation for what God desires to do next. One of the things that I will say that we sometimes forget to do is we forget to celebrate and we forget to thank God for the things that He has done. I was our church was on a trip this past weekend, and yesterday before we left, I had some moments over, um, sitting on the deck, if you will, sitting in front of this huge body of water, this huge lake. And I was sitting there thinking, and as I was doing that, the Holy Spirit said, "But you've come through so much worse." That He was just beginning to remind me of the things that I had survived. He was beginning to bring different memories and allow various memories to come up. And I don't know if you guys know how that feels, or if you've ever been in that place where God begins to reassure you and begins to remind you of what it is that He has done and what it is that He has spoken to you. Blessings to you. Um, so I found myself in a place today. I got up from my desk and I went into our bookstore, and I just went and grabbed some of our books. It's actually some of the books that I've written. I've written 21 books. I don't talk about them all the time. I barely talk about them at all. But I've written 21 books. We've published 150 authors thus far. And we have a number of authors who are in Barnes and Noble, and we have a number of authors who have been accepted into the Library of Congress as well. We've just done a lot in a little bit of time. We've done a lot over these past 8 years, between 2016 up to today's date. We have really been able to do a lot and accomplish a lot for, and to God be all the glory for it. Without Him, none of it would have happened. None of it would have ever been possible. And so I've just been thinking today. I've been thinking, I've been pondering, I've been reflecting. I just want to start by saying this, as we sit in the month of April. I just want to say this: you belong here. I'm telling you this as I tell myself this. One of the things that I tend to tell people, and I've said this on live before, and I've posted this before, is that probably about 95% of the posts I put up aren't even for you. They are to remind me later. And if it just happens to help somebody else along the way, then so let it be. To God be the glory for it all. And so I just want to start off this month by telling you that you belong here, that you absolutely, positively belong here. That whatever it is that God has called you to do, whatever it is He's assigned to your life, whatever it is that He has placed in front of you to accomplish, I don't care if it's big in your eyes or if it's small in your eyes, you belong here. And your presence in this earth and your presence in this world is needed. I remember, and I'm just following God as I talk to you guys. But I remember when I wrote this book right here, when I wrote Rehoboth Church Road, and I remember that when I wrote this book, I didn't feel like I belonged or that I should have still been alive. This book, Rehoboth Church Road, Suicide in the Pulpit, is actually about when I, even as a pastor, attempted to commit suicide on a Sunday afternoon. And this book literally talks about just the ups and the downs, the highs and the lows. This book was originally written to give other pastors and other leaders a voice, those who felt some of the same emotions and felt like doing some of the same things. But didn't have anybody they could tell. And so, because they may have been afraid to release that word or to tell that truth or to tell how they felt, then I said, you know what, God, send me, I'll go. And so he permitted me to write this book. And so I wrote this book and I released this book. And of course, any book you see that you're like, yo, that's a really, really great book. I'm sitting here and I'm just like, okay, offers, right? Because when you go live, people want offers. And so these books actually right now, you can actually get them for $10 if you want them on site or delivered in hand, or if you want them shipped, you can get them for 17. But this book is really, really, really amazing. And this ended up being targeted to teenagers between the age of 12 and 17 who had either were attempting suicide or contemplating it, and they were wanting some level of intervention. It hit top 100 books on Amazon when it was released as well. That was just an amazing, amazing thing. So number one, you belong here. Number two, it doesn't matter how many times you've fallen. God just needs you to get back up. It doesn't matter how many times you have fallen. God just really needs you to get back up. One of the things that that I did, the second book I ever released was called Humpty Dumpty and Stilettos. And every time I share the name of that book, people laugh. But they really don't have an idea of what that book really means or what that book is really about. But I remember when I wrote that book, and it was literally in response to a prophetic word that I had received, but it was also in response to the frustration, if you will, of falling and being tired of falling. And so Humpty Dumpty, some of you know the Humpty Dumpty. So on the wall, Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses, all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. But if you go and you research the actual nursery rhyme, the nursery rhyme did not really have a distinct marker as far as who it was referring to. Some people said that it referred to the king of that time, and excuse me, and that the king had actually he had done such a horrible job at being king that the people just wanted him to fall off of the wall. And so the other version is that Humpty Dumpty was actually a cannon that was embedded into a wall, and that when they used it in the middle of war, the wall came tumbling down and they couldn't put the bricks back together, and they couldn't put the cannon back together either. And so I started out by talking about how people hear something, they hear a nursery rhyme, or they hear word on the street, or they hear current day, they hear something in the DMs, and so they begin to make their own assumptions about what happened, and it begins to spread like wildfire. So Humpty Dumpty actually ended up spreading like wildfire, to the point that if you look in nursery rhyme books, it looks like a guy that is dressed up as a soldier of some kind that's sitting on top of a wall, and he happens to be an egg. And it's amazing how many times we can go from being in that place of just hearing truth. What we normally say is telling our truth, right? Hearing truth, pursuing truth, and then in the same breath we're sitting there trying to prove the truth of what is. And so for me, Humpty Dumpty and Stilettos was about exchanging with God those places in myself that I didn't feel comfortable with. It was about me getting into a place, if you want to see it, there it is, getting into a place and getting into a space of, just asking God to make give me clarity, if you will, to give me clarity about the things that I had gone through and the things that I had come out of, because it didn't make sense then. Okay, and sometimes it doesn't make sense now, but nevertheless we're here, right? And so, when I wrote this book, as I said to you before when I first started talking, this is an encouragement to you that you know what, you may fall, you may stumble, but God needs you to get back up. God really needs you to get back up and to get back in position. And so I'm looking at these books. I'm looking at Pivotal Life Nuggets, this Pivotal Life Nuggets book. And I promise y'all this whole conversation is going somewhere extremely important. But literally I'm looking at this book. And this book I wrote, it was supposed to be released for my 40th birthday. And I ended up putting everything, I put this book to the back burner for everybody else. I'm going to repeat. I put this book to the back burner for everybody else. Everybody else's priorities became my priorities. And so I took this book and I just put it in the back burner. I just threw it somewhere and said, I'll get to it later. And I ended up publishing this book a year later on my 41st birthday instead of my 40th birthday. Can I say it this way? It's time to stop putting that off. And I don't know what that is, but you're in the second quarter of the year. You're in day one of the second quarter. There are a lot of people that work out at the gym on a religious basis who are really excited about this day. Do you know why? They're excited because the people that bought all of those memberships and bought all of those club memberships that didn't last 3 months, they have now left. And so the faithful people can now get their machines back. And the faithful people don't have to wait in long lines anymore to use a set of equipment because of a person that grabbed hold of equipment or grabbed hold of a membership that they had no intention of keeping. In this quarter right here, can I say it this way? Some of us need to learn how to keep a promise to ourselves. I was watching something last week and it was so very true and it hit very close to home, but they were reiterating how when you are on a plane and you're supposed to take the mask and put it over your face first. Why? Because you can't save anybody else until you save yourself. And so during the time that I was writing this book, I had all of these words and all of these reflections in my spirit, but I didn't share any of them. Why? Because I was putting the mask on everybody else and allowing this book to sink and allowing this opportunity to sink. And so this book is full of nuggets. It's full of 41 words that actually helped me. So some people said, oh, you just gave us one to grow on. I did not. Some people say this is a birthday book. I produced it on my birthday, but it's not a birthday book. That's the only reason the balloons are in the back. It's because it was my birthday. But this could be day 41. It could be second 41, before you hit 40, before you hit 41, whatever it is. Like you really could take this book and you can say over the next 40 days, I'm going to read one word a day. And then there's even space in here that gives you time and room to share your reflections about what you think about that word and how it impacts you. So I had to learn, and all of the books I'm showing you, we do have copies in stock here at the bookstore. My baby girl, she's on spring break this week, and she said, "Mama," she said, "Where are the people at? I need people to come buy these books so I can have something to do." So I'm doing a 2-for-1 today, and what that means is I'm gonna give y'all this word that God gave me, and I'm gonna share with y'all the books that He told me to pull down. So there you go. All right. So that's word number 3. Word number 4, I'm not even going to say for April. I'm just going to say for the quarter that we sit in right now, is that today is Monday and I need you to live beyond it. Today is Monday and I need you to live beyond it. I wrote a collaborative, I oversaw a collaborative work called Live Beyond Monday, Lessons Beyond the Seminary, and it was targeted towards the clergy. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to say is this book ended up having about 5 clergy in it. Okay, now, I'm not going to get on y'all today, but what I will say is this book consists of 5 individuals, including myself, who had the audacity to talk about how they launched out into ministry, what they went through regarding ministry, and it's only women in this book, no men, even though it was open to both. And so I don't know why the men were so quiet. I don't know why the men didn't raise up. I don't know why more clergy didn't raise up to take advantage of this opportunity to let the world know, hey, listen, this is what I went through for this anointing, and this is what I had to go through for this power that I didn't ask for. Blessings to you. But when I tell y'all today, hey Bess, when I tell y'all today, like this book right here, they talk about everything. They're talking about their processes. They're talking about what they went through, what they've come through. But can I tell you something? God needs you to live. Today is Monday, and God needs you to live beyond it. Some of us, we dread Mondays. A lot of us are dreading Mondays because this Monday, because it's the first, and here you go having to, use your bank account, empty your bank account to pay these bills out or whatever you do on the first of the month. And I'm just here to let you know, God needs you to live beyond it. Like I said in the beginning of this live, a lot of times when I come on live, God is just, you don't see it, but God is gutting me open like a fish. And all I'm doing is telling y'all what he's telling me in hopes that it helps somebody else. But in all honesty, at some point, you've got to choose to live beyond whatever your Monday feel like and whatever your Monday looks like. For me, today is Monday, but to be honest with you, yesterday felt like Monday to me. And so I'm just here to let you know we have 3 copies of this one. So if anybody wants this one, we have 3 copies on hand. Before you hit 40, we have 19 copies of those here at the store. Humpty Dumpty and Stilettos, we have 25, and we have 17 in Rehoboth Church Road right now that are in the store. But when I tell y'all today, you got to figure out how to live beyond it. All right. You got to figure out how to live beyond it. The next word. This ain't going to be pretty, but it's going to be worth it. This is not going to be pretty, but it's going to be worth it. This ain't going to be pretty, but it's going to be worth it. Not with your legs crossed. This book, which one, Lakeisha? So if you want to purchase any of the books you see, the easiest way to do it is going to be, let me put it here. If it will allow me, if my computer will stop tripping for just a second. The easiest way is going to be via inbox. So you can inbox us at the Fiery Beacon Publishing House LLC page, or you can inbox me on my personal page and let me know which one you want to get. And then we can actually invoice you that way. And then we'll ship the copy to you if it needs to be shipped. Of course, all copies will be autographed for anyone that you see. Any books you see or have seen already are only $10 today. They're only $10. And if you want them shipped to you, then it's just $17. And that can be up to 4 or 5 books actually for the actual shipping. So you do the 10, you do the 17 on one and do the 10 on the other ones. And we work it out from there. All right. But this one right here, not with your legs crossed. This one, I do tell the story of when I had my daughter. For those that don't know, I almost died when I had her, and she almost died as well. The doctors were encouraging us, of course, encouraging me to keep pushing and trying to keep me focused. I had a nurse beside me that had body bags in her hand. After I delivered her, I had nurses checking on me for about 4 or 5 hours, waiting to see if I was going to have complications or die. It was just so much. Okay, cool. Yes, ma'am. I got you. And so when I tell y'all today, it was an experience that I will never, ever, never, ever, ever forget. Obviously, for obvious reasons. But even what happened after that is what gets me. And so in this book, I talk about going home 2 days after I delivered my daughter, 2 days after almost losing of us both losing our life. and then getting home because I was trying to make it back for church in time. Now y'all be like, y'all crazy. You crazy for saying that. Lakeisha will probably like, girl, what? I literally had my daughter on a Friday on March the 15th. And by Saturday, I was asking my doctor, can I go? I need to leave. I got to leave by Sunday. I have service at 3:00. And she looked at me and said, are you crazy? I said, no, ma'am. I said, I'm a pastor and I've got to be in position. I know I just had this baby. I know I just had her. I know I almost died. I know all of that, but I gotta get where I gotta go. And I mean, we're talking about, of course, pain. We're talking about bones separated, the whole 9 yards. I'm like, if you can just get me home. And so when I got home while we were in worship, the Lord took me up into literally like it was almost like he took my spirit out of my body and took me back to the hospital. And in this book, I talk about what God allowed me to see as I walked down the hallway. He allowed me to see every angel that was posted. He allowed me to see every protective measure that was put in place to make sure that I did not lose my life that weekend. And so, and I remember the nurses running up to us saying, oh my God, it's you. Oh my God, it's you. You're okay. You're okay. And so, it's just so many things. And that was like a couple of weeks later, one of my friends had given birth and I went up there and they said, oh my God, it is you. And so I thank God for saving our lives, for keeping our lives. But for those of you who are in the middle of spiritual birthing and you are confused because it's not pretty, or you are confused because you don't understand the pains or the contractions you feel. This book is actually broken up in contractions. So when you read it, it's not chapter 1, chapter 2, chapter 3. It reads as contraction 1, contraction 2, contraction 3, and so on, down to contraction number 9, and then of course contraction number 10. Yeah, this one stops at 9. So this one right here, and I'm going to read some of the chapter titles to you for Not With Your Legs Crossed. But the first contraction says, it may be bigger, but you won't die. I probably could have just I really probably could have just came on here today and just said, I'm just going to read these chapter titles to you and we're going to make it do what it do. It may be bigger, but you won't die. And honestly, y'all, that was because I told everybody around me, my baby can only be 7 pounds because that's all I have the capacity to push out. I can't push out anything bigger than 7 pounds. And sure enough, my daughter was almost 10 pounds. And I had to do what I had to do. Okay. Number 2, first things first. Contraction 2, first things first. Contraction 3, 2 times 2 is ... Contraction 4, clear the fields, enlarge your tent. Contraction number 5, but wait, my parts don't work. But wait, my parts don't work. Contraction number 6, come in the room or not. Contraction number 7, suspended labor. Contraction number 8, postpartum. And contraction number 9, destiny arising. Those are the chapter titles for Not With Your Legs Crossed, Spiritual Birthing Uncensored. And we have 14 copies of that available. It's real. It's real. It's real. Okay? It is real. Then I went back and started doing another collaboration. This collab, Talitha Coombe, Get Up Little Girl, Get Up. This one has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 authors in this book who came together to talk about their stories. These are not easy stories to read. I'm going to let you know this right now. This isn't, oh, I grew up and I was in the perfect environment and, oh, I went to the park every day and I was part of the 2.5 kids and all that. This book is full of women who went through some really horrendous situations and some really horrendous places. And in the midst of it, the Holy Spirit himself said, no, little girl, you got to get up. For some of them, they began writing stories. They began writing letters to the little girl inside of them. There are people who got delivered out of this book. There are people who were in this book who at the end said, God just delivered me through my own writing. And can I say it this way? In this season, God is going to deliver you through your own words. Many of us, oh Lord, your deliverance is going to come through your own words. And yes, it's hard. It's hard to say the right thing when you feel bad. It's hard to find the exact right words to say when you feel horrible. It's hard to find the perfect soliloquy, the perfect prayer to pray when you feel like crap. It's hard. And it doesn't matter what your title or any of that stuff is. None of that stuff matters when you feel like you feel. And I get it and I understand it. What I will tell you is in this season, you're going to have to somehow, some way find your words. You know how they say, how they tell little kids, and Latasha's here today, so she probably going to hear me. You know how in nursery school and in what in like pre-K, and the kids get really frustrated and they start screaming and they're crying and they're just going through it, and then the teacher finally says, wait, you can't keep crying like that. I need you to find your words and talk to me. I was watching a video today where a teacher walked in this room and he walked in extremely calm and they were flipping all over the floor, and he walked in and put his hands behind his back and he got on the floor and he said, hey, you come here. He looked at another one. He said, hey, you come here. And he looked at another one. He said, hey, you come here. He said, now, why are you crying? And the kid started crying. He said, no, 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 no. He said, I need you to find your words. He said, I know you're upset. I understand that you're upset. He said, and I want to hear what you have to say, but I can't hear you while you're crying. Portia. He said, I cannot hear you while you're crying. He said, I need you to stop crying so I can understand what you're saying. And so the little boy started, he kept on kind of whining. He stopped crying, but he was still whining. So he asked another little boy, he said, well, why are you crying? And the little boy said, I want to go outside. I want to go outside. He said, you want to go outside? He said, yeah. He said, well, why couldn't you go outside? And the little boy said, because I got in trouble. So now this other little boy is telling it for the whole three. The reason why we're on the floor crying is because we want to go outside and we can't go outside because we got in trouble. And so the man said, well, when you get in trouble, he said, well, first of all, he said, you're in trouble. He said, because you didn't do what you're supposed to do. He said, you didn't have your listening ears on. He said, turn your listening ears on. And so immediately two of the kids started doing like this, turning their listening ears on. But the one that wouldn't stop crying to his left, he said, turn your listening ears on. And the little boy said, and kept right on crying. He said, see? He said, you haven't gone outside because you won't turn your listening ears on. He said, now that he's pointing to the other two, you've turned your listening ears on. He said, so now I want you to go ask your teacher, now that you have on listening ears, go ask your teacher if you can go outside now. And he looked back at the other little boy and he said, turn your listening ears on. Little boy, he just going off. And so the guy said, see, he said, I want to let you, oh God, Jesus. He said, I want to let you go outside. He said, but I can't let you go outside because your listening ears are still off. He said, your listening ears are still off. I want to do it, but your listening ears are still off. He said, you're not listening to me. He said, you're not listening. That's why you keep getting in trouble. He said, and you keep crying. And that's why I can't let you talk, because I can't understand your degree of crying. I just need to hear you talk. And for some, yes, God can read your tears, and not some, but yes, God can read your tears. It says that the word of God says that our tears are bottled up in the heavens, like they're stored. But guess what? There comes a time where God says, I just need you to stop crying and just talk. No big language, no big words. I just need you to talk. I just need you to tell me what's going on. I need you to tell me how you feel. I need you to tell me what you need me to do. I don't need you to come kicking and screaming and having a temper tantrum. I just need you to come and talk. So Get Up Little Girl, that's what that's about. We got 25 of them if anybody wants to purchase a copy. And then last but not least, The Mantle I Never Asked For, Crushed, Called, and Chosen. This book has some really amazing authors in it as well. One of the authors in this book has actually passed away, Pat Galloway, who was one of my friends that ended up being a spiritual daughter, that was a part of our ministry for some time. And she is in this book. This is the first time that she said, Pastor, I'm going to do it. I'm going to write in this book. And she wrote and she shared her heart. But this book right here is for those of you who have mantles that you never even desired. You didn't want it. Some of y'all still don't want it, but it's knocking at your door. And so that's what this book is about. That's exactly what this book is about. I didn't want to be on here long, and I wish I had said what I needed to say earlier, because now we're down to 2 people. But it's okay. All is well. I know, and I'll say it this way. If I came on here, I already know if I came on here kicking and screaming, if I came on here going off and everybody get a prophetic word, then I already know what would happen. I know that everybody would be on here and all the things would be happening. Everybody would be tagging, sharing, and inviting. But I know oftentimes when anybody comes online and they offer something that requires some level of investment, it has the capacity to oftentimes shun people or draw people away, instead of drawing them back in. So if that's the case, that's cool. I understand that's the nature of this algorithm thing. But for those that desire this book, you can get this book. We have 9 copies of this one available. So I guess I'll go ahead and share this bit of news with you. There's a couple of things I'm working on. I am still working on authors' manuscripts and all that stuff. I'm still plowing through those, still ghostwriting for those that are signed up as ghostwriting clients and all of those things. I'm glad y'all are still here. Listen, y'all pray for the people that's not. Y'all pray for the people that's not. But literally right now, and I've been contemplating, I've been thinking about it, I've been asking God about it. I've just kind of been like, Lord, and can I say it this way, and y'all not look at me funny? I'm gonna tell y'all the whole truth. Like, I haven't like fasted and prayed over it. I haven't done anything extensive. It just kept coming up in my spirit. It really did. It just kept coming up in my spirit. And I said, okay, God, all right, if it's one thing I know to do, if it's one thing I've learned to do, it is the art of realizing what you're called to, and knowing that if you have to accomplish what's needed alone, if you have to accomplish what you got to do alone, then you'll do it by yourself. And sometimes that means, sometimes that means hearing something by the Spirit of God and having to jump on it and write it right now. But I have really been contemplating going back to this book, and I'll let y'all see it again. I've been contemplating going back to this book and redoing the 41-day journey of the 40 before you hit 40 book. For those that don't know, when I first started this thing, I was doing it every day, and then my mom started declining, and then my mom eventually passed away, and so I stopped. And I'm just tell y'all truth, shame the devil. I stopped. I'm not gonna sit here and say, I took a break, or I'm not gonna do that. I just stopped. I didn't feel it. I couldn't do it for obvious reasons, and so I just stopped. And so I was like, really kind of contemplating going back to this. But then God reminded me of something that I had in my journal that I started working on within the rehab room at 3000 Degrees. And it's something that I started with them probably about a year to maybe a year and a half ago, to show you how it all interconnects. And I'm going to tell the story, and I'm going to jump off of here to show you how it actually interconnects, which is crazy, or intersects, should I say. When I released my first album, Embers and Billows, we were in the studio, and my producer said to me, he said, every single one of the titles in these songs is a book. And I told him, I said, don't tell me that, because I got like 10 or 11 songs on here at this point. And he said, no, for real. He said, every song on here sounds like a book title. And so I wanted to announce, and like I said, I was hoping that more people would be here, but I'm learning that I just gotta go with the goers. But I also wanted to announce my 22nd book is coming. It is not. I have a few clients that I'm handling over this 40 some day period. But the massive expansion of Rewords, which is the first track on Embers and Billows, is going to be released on Pentecost Sunday weekend. And so over the next, I want to say it starts tomorrow, it starts on the 9th. So beginning on the 9th of April, I'm going to be sharing daily nuggets with you, counting down to the massive expansion of Rewords release, pivotal words for pivotal people. And we're going to be going over 40 words or more that literally have pierced my life, that God has brought attention or illumination or revelation to. And I'm going to be sharing those with you. And those nuggets are going to be short in nature, no more than about maybe 1 to 3, maybe 4 minutes long. But each of those words will have their own chapter inside of this book. And so I will begin to do pre-sales and all of that stuff so that you can get your copy. Again, it will be out in May. And so I'm just at this point, all I know to do is push. That's all I can tell you. I am a creative by nature. We have many collaborations that are out there. We have several. We have actually a total of 5 collaborations that are being released this year. Right now, we have one, Hold It in the Road. That is a Mother's Day collaboration. Y'all, let me tell you, I don't know what it is, but what I can tell you is this: is that I have 4 amazing women who are taking this plunge to talk about their mother, the person that birthed them, the person that raised them, the person that trained them, and the person that taught them. And I'm one of those 4, and it's going to be in this book, Hold It in the Road, Lessons from My Mama. This book is dedicated to my mother. It's going to be, of course, the first time that I've talked about her in past tense. So y'all pray for me, because it's not gonna, I don't foresee it being easy. So if you want to donate tissue or something, you can donate tissue or something, but while I write it, but I know that it is necessary. One of the last things my mom shared is that she should have written a book. And so the least that I can do for her on Mother's Day, I can't give her the flowers that I gave her last year. I can't give her the balloon that I gave her last year. But what I can do is bless my mother with ink, and bless my mother in ink. And so that's what I'm going to do. Many of you have seen the flyer circulating. You have a mom, you have a mother figure. You haven't signed up. I don't know why. But that's between you and the Lord. Right. But it is definitely an outstanding opportunity that will allow you to be able to step into sharing your stories and your reflections. Your mother does not have to be passed on. They can still be here. It doesn't have to be your biological mother. It can be your godmother, spiritual mother, adopted mother, whatever, whoever it is, whoever the mother figure is that has impacted your life. This is an opportunity for you. And we've often also expanded what we offer as far as payment options for those that are looking for maybe a more comfortable way to get things done. We have Afterpay, we have Affirm, we have Klarna, we have Cash App Pay, we have Apple Pay, we have WePay. WePay is actually something that's more popular over in Japan, but we do have it. We have a number of different ways that you can actually pay, that you can get on board with this collaboration. This collaboration right now, if you're doing a one pay, is $75 off. So here's the thing: if you're doing Afterpay, Affirm, or Klarna, if you do either of those, it's still considered to be a one pay. So you would still get the promotional cost of the $3.99 minus that $75. So it's an amazing offer. There are people that are in this collab that invested even more than that into this collaboration. And so it would be a travesty for people to have mothers and mother figures and be settled on just giving them flowers or taking them out to eat. Those things don't last long. Even if it's a memory, the memory goes, it can be passed on, but that memory, that solid memory, stays with the person that it happened to or happened with. But when you write something in a book, it not only lasts with you, but it lasts 70 plus years. And so other people will pick up that book and they'll be reminded of their mother, or they'll pick up that book and they'll be grateful that you had that opportunity, or they'll pick up that book and they'll be encouraged, knowing that even if they didn't have the best of mothers, that there's somebody out there who did have some great experiences that they can probably glean from, that they can learn from. So that opportunity is out there. Also, I went through hell and came out with oil. That book is actually now available where you can sign up for that collaboration as well. And then we also have Sold, which is our real estate mogul's guide to ownership, whether it be commercial ownership or whether it be home buying ownership. It's open to real estate agents. It's open to of course, brokers. It's open to loan officers. It's open to land investors. Whoever has, if you have nuggets as it relates to real estate, and there's also space in there for you to share your business information and your bio information. But if you are one that has that, and you're saying, hey, I want to share what I know, I want to share my knowledge, and I want to have something in hand that I can use to connect with potential clients, then this may be the very collab that you need. So with that being said, I'm going to jump off of here again. Keep your eyes open. We're going to start on the 9th of April. It's going to be in the form of a reel. So keep your reels, keep your eyes on your reels. If you follow me on IG, you'll see it on there. If you follow me on TikTok, you will see it on there. And then, of course, if you follow me on Facebook, you will see it on here as well. But I encourage you to follow me on all three. And let's just make a big party of it every day for 40 days as we count down to Pentecost Sunday and as we count down to the massive expansion of Rewords release. Pivotal words for pivotal people. I love you. I'm praying for you. Pray for me as we continue to do this kingdom thing together. I pray you have an amazing day, and I'll see you at the top. Blessings to you.